Stephen Curry in Golden State, taking a look at his legacy and the impact this season has had. He is probably the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history. In fact, I'm not even sure why I said probably. This year, he made an NBA record 5.3 threes per game, breaking his own record. He's a two-time MVP, won it back-to-back in 2015 and 16. He's a finalist again this year. Could become the 9th player ever to win it 3 times. His championship pedigree, check. 3 rings to his name. One of 8 players in history with at least 3 titles and 2 MVPs. All of that led Tim Legler to say this on my radio show yesterday.
How can Steph Curry not be considered an all-time great? Particularly with what he has done once again as the alpha deeper into his career. Very few guys can have the run that Steph Curry had. Then dial it back a little bit to make room for Kevin Durant, go through injuries, and go right back not only to where he was, Greeny, he just had the greatest offensive stretch of his career, and he was a unanimous MVP. Think about that. So for me, this year has been about the rise of Steph Curry on the all-time greats list.
So that was Tim Legler from my radio show. This is Jay Williams from KJZ on ESPN Radio. And it's an interesting thought. A year ago, I think we were having completely different conversations about Steph Curry. What has this season, in your view, meant to his legacy and his place on the all-time list of great players?
For me, I've always thought that Stephen Curry is one of the greatest to ever do it. Definitely the greatest shooting guard of all time. But I think for people, it reminds them of how prolific of a scorer Stephen Curry is and that he can carry the weight. I did not think that this team currently constructed would make the playoffs. The fact that they're in a battle for the 8th seed, we'll still see if he can complete the deal tonight, I think speaks volumes about who Stephen Curry is and his place in history.
You know, I think that there's a lot of different pieces of that are accurate. If you go back to the pre-KD Warriors, I think they were seen as a group of which he was a great scorer, but maybe just a piece, not someone who could carry a team. Then KD comes, that changes everybody's perception on everything. This year, he carries a team almost single-handedly into the playoffs, which is what all-time greats do, what all-time superstars do. I think that's a big piece of how this transforms his legacy.
I agree, and this also brings me to a different point about LeBron James. If we're giving the same love for Steph Curry to carry his team to a potential 8th seed, then how do we categorize that with LeBron James? Even though people love to demean him about his finals record, look at some of the teams he's taken to the finals, not the 8th seed, the finals. Stephen Curry, though, what he's been able to do is on a different level, though, Greeny. And I will say this. I know Legler said he's trending towards top 10. He's not in my top 10 right now. That is not a slight on Stephen Curry. But when it's all said and done, when his career is over, when we can look at the entire body of work, he will be top 10.
Look, I mean, there's a lot, and I'm with you.
He will be top 10.
And maybe the most interesting thing that can be said about it is a year ago today, I don't think anyone was having that conversation. That's what this year has meant. There are 4 players in history who have won multiple scoring titles, multiple MVPs, and multiple championships. They are Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Steph Curry. I mean, he's on that kind of list. And so that, I think, is just, that's all Tim's point was, and I think it's a valid and interesting point to make, that Steph Curry, with the season he has had, has vaulted himself into the conversation with the greatest players of all time.
And then for anybody that gives you the hypothetical scenarios by saying, oh, Kevin Durant signed that team, we don't know if they don't win 2 more championships. You know, maybe he does get 2 final MVPs. Well, all right, well, look, Ray Allen made a shot to help LeBron James win a championship, right? There's a lot of different scenarios that could have played out differently. It won't matter when it's all said and done about his greatness.
So it was announced yesterday that he is one of 3 finalists for this year's MVP award, along with Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. Who gets Jay Will's vote?
Steph Curry gets my MVP. He gets my MVP. And I was a guy literally 2 weeks ago that said, I think it's all over. I think Jokic is going to get it. It felt like Jokic has put up incredible numbers. I respect Jokic for what he's done. What we're seeing here, though, is spectacular. Jokic is spectacular, too. But for a person who's 6'2", 6'3", dropping 32 points a game, the scoring champ, carrying this team with guys who've been in the G League. There were guys in the G League on his roster. For a chance they have to complete the deal tonight, but it would be Stephen Curry for me.
Yeah, Steph Curry gets my vote as well, because you can be valuable in a lot of different ways. Does he win tonight? Does he beat Ja Morant in Memphis?
Yes, they do.
And that would mean they would move on to play Utah. All right, that's KJ. Jay Will is moving on over to KJZ, coast to coast on ESPN Radio. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.